Hello everyone. In the middle of the dark forest, where the sunlight only managed to penetrate a few weak rays through the dense foliage, a loud roar echoed, making the air seem to freeze. It was not the sound of the wind, nor the familiar sound of the mountains and forests, but the majestic roar of the king of the jungle. Tuna, on her adventurous solo trip, suddenly became the one directly facing the sharp eyes, looking straight at her from the bushes. Her heart beat rapidly. Each breath became heavy, as if time was slowing down. In that moment, all paths of retreat seemed to have been blocked. Not far away, Alex, her only companion, will be able to realize the danger in time. Will he be able to overcome the obstacles of the jungle to save Tuna in time? Or will this be the fateful moment, where the boundary between life and death is only a breath away? Stay tuned, because this story will make you breathless from the first second and remember to subscribe to the channel, everyone. The sky had just begun to brighten, the first rays of sunlight still shyly filtered through the forest canopy, shining on the dusty roof of the workshop. The distant crowing of roosters mixed with the babbling brook made the space seem to have just woken up after a long night. Alex slowly opened his eyes, took a deep breath of the morning dew scent lingering in the air, and a strange urge arose in his heart. Today, he would start again. After many days of neglect, the once bustling wood workshop now only had piles of old logs mixed with the smell of dampness and dust. The road to the acceptance site was like Alex's mood, bumpy, with many crags of time. He walked, each step reminding him of his old dream, to turn this place into the largest wood workshop in the region, a place to create jobs and revive the pride of the whole community. When he arrived, Alex quietly placed his hands on the newly transported logs. The wood grain was firm, bright and smooth, as if carrying the breath of the mountains and forests. He nodded, his eyes shining with hope. Each piece of wood was not only a product, but also a symbol of a new beginning. This wood workshop, if restored, would bring jobs to dozens of people in the surrounding area, bringing livelihoods and faith. But while Alex was absorbed in his calculations and aspirations for revival, he did not know that not far away, in the middle of the forest, Tuna, his companion, was embarking on a completely different journey. The girl still thought it was just a normal walk in the forest, breathing in the fresh air, finding some peace for her soul. But in the remaining fog and darkness, a danger was lurking. With each step Tuna took deeper into the forest. Each slight sound seemed to make the air heavy. Alex, in the joy of the new day, had no idea that just a few hours later, he would have to face a greater challenge than all, saving Tuna from the clutches of the king of the jungle. Tuna walked slowly on the path covered with rotten leaves. The morning light penetrated through the dense foliage, creating faint streaks of light, dancing on the damp ground. In Tuna's mind, it was just a short fruit-picking trip to regain the feeling of being close to nature. While Alex was busy at the wood workshop, however, her footsteps gradually took her further away. The familiar forest suddenly became strange. The birds no longer chirped as usual. A terrifying silence fell. Tuna stopped, looked around, and a feeling of indescribable unease rose in her heart. Suddenly, a deep roar echoed from behind the bushes, making her heart jump. The sound was unlike any small animal. It was thick, strong, and carried an unmistakable power. The roar of a tiger. Every hair on Tuna's neck stood on end. Her heart was beating so fast that it felt like it was about to escape from her chest. She turned her head slightly, and her eyes suddenly caught a fierce, bright gaze in the shade. The tiger appeared, its golden fur streaked with black stripes, its gait graceful but deadly. It slowly stepped out, its huge feet stepping on the dry leaves, making a terrifying rustling sound. The distance was only a few meters, and each step the king of the jungle took made Tuna feel like she was suffocating. In that moment, she was completely motionless. Her reason screamed to run, but her feet felt like they were nailed to the ground. Cold sweat beaded on her forehead, running down her spine. The tiger lowered its head slightly, roaring loudly, causing the entire forest to shake. The sound echoed in Tuna's ears, drowning her in terror. In the distance, it seemed like someone was calling her name, but Tuna wasn't sure if she really heard it or if it was just an illusion in her extreme fear. The only thing that was clear was that she was facing death, alone, with no place to hide. The tiger lowered its body, preparing to charge. Tuna was stunned, her breath caught. At that moment, a loud scream rang out. Tuna, it was Alex. He had just returned from the workshop, going this very path. Without hesitation, Alex shouted loudly, picked up a large tree branch and hit it repeatedly against the tree trunk. The loud sound resounded, startling the tiger. It turned its head sharply, growled. Its bright eyes stared at Alex, then slowly retreated, disappearing into the dense forest. Tuna knelt down, her trembling hands clutching the ground. Alex rushed over, hugged her shoulders tightly, his voice hoarse. Are you okay? I'm here. In both their eyes, there was both panic and relief at having escaped the sight of death. Night fell. The moonlight was looming over the mountaintop, casting a gentle light on the small yard in front of the farm. After a long and eventful day, Tuna still shivered at times, remembering the fierce gaze of the tiger in the deep forest. But tonight, she wanted to do something to dispel the shadow of fear, to affirm to herself that life was still peaceful and warm. She quickly went to the coop and caught a hen she had raised for a long time. Alex followed, his eyes still following Tuna's every move. He knew she was trying to act strong, but deep inside, the fear of the day still lingered. When the chicken was butchered, the smoke from the kitchen gradually spread out. The pungent smell of burning feathers mixed with the scent of dry wood, making the space strangely familiar. Alex also rolled up his sleeves, helped chop wood, and lit the fire. It had been a long time since the farm had been so bustling. The flickering flames shone on Tuna's face. The light made her eyes sparkle, both determined and fragile. Alex sat opposite, quietly observing. Suddenly, a feeling that was hard to name arose in his heart. He remembered the moment in the afternoon when he saw her standing motionless before the claws of the king of the jungle. His heart seemed to stop beating, and at that moment, he could only think of one thing. If Tuna met with any fate, he would never forgive himself. The meal was served, a golden tray of boiled chicken placed in the middle of an old bamboo table, next to a bowl of hot chicken soup, a plate of green boiled vegetables. Tuna smiled gently, her eyes shining with gratitude as she looked at Alex. The two of them sat together, in the chill of the mountains and forests at night. The sweet aroma of chicken mixed with the smoke from the kitchen seemed to warm not only their bodies, but also their souls. Tuna ate slowly, as if she was letting go of the emotions that were still lingering in her heart. Alex softly said, "Do you know, when I saw the tiger standing in front of you, I had never felt such great fear. Not fear of the tiger, but fear of losing you." Tuna raised her head, her eyes wide open, surprised by Alex's straightforward words. She was silent for a long time, then smiled slightly, her eyes filled with emotion. Outside, the night wind gently shook the trees, the sound of insects humming like background music for that moment of silence. Alex's voice was low but firm. "Today, I realized something. I don't just want to protect you out of responsibility or friendship, but because you are really important to me." The small kitchen suddenly became quiet. Only the sound of firewood crackling remained. Tuna lowered her head slightly, her cheeks flushed, her heart filled with a strange yet sweet feeling. All her worries and fears seemed to disappear. Instead, it was the warmth, the belief that beside her there was a man willing to stand in the middle of danger to protect her. That night, the simple meal became an unforgettable memory, not because of the delicious chicken tray or the strong corn wine, but because it marked a new beginning, the beginning of a deeper connection. When Alex dared to open his heart, and Tuna nodded silently. Outside, the moon was still bright, the forest still whispered in the wind, but in the small kitchen of the farm, two hearts that had just gone through a storm found peace in each other.